In today's video, I'm going to share with you the 4 top superfoods to help you alleviate constipation so you can get rid of chronic bloat, fatigue, and mood swings that often accompany a backed up gut. And with that being said, my name is Cassie. I specifically help women break free from living in survival mode and start thriving by healing their gut, hormones, and metabolic health from the inside out. And before we can get into those 4 superfoods, we first have to understand, what is the definition of constipation? What are the root causes of constipation? And what symptoms accompany constipation that could be leaving you feeling like you are struggling getting through the day? So let's first start by defining what is constipation. Constipation is having less than 1 to 3 bowel movements per day. Yes, you should be fully emptying your bowels 7 days per week. Less than that means you are constipated. And when I say fully emptying, this means when you're going, it feels like you don't have anything left. So if you are not going at least 1 to sometimes upwards of 3 times per day, you are constipated. But then we also have to look at the stool consistency. If you are pooping pellets, you're constipated. You want to be anywhere between 3 and 4 on the Bristol stool chart. That's what you want your stool to look like. Anything outside of that, 1 or 2, is constipation. And for a lot of you, you may not even realize that sometimes diarrhea-like symptoms can actually be constipation. So if you've gone to the bathroom for 2, 3, 4 days, and then suddenly you have a sudden bout of very loose stools or diarrhea, this is overflow from constipation. So you might think, hey, I'm both constipated and I have diarrhea, when in reality, that is constipation that has turned into a diarrhea-like symptom, but we have to solve the constipation first. So if you fall into any one of those categories, or your poo does not look like 3 or 4 on the Bristol stool chart, then you are constipated. Now, common symptoms of constipation, not just your gut being backed up or feeling uncomfortable, include bloat, even painful bloat. Things like acne, puffiness in your face, acid reflux, nausea, fatigue, low energy. And for long-term constipation, meaning this isn't just happening once a while or here and there, this can lead to a decrease in nutrient absorption. So if you're someone who says, man, I eat healthy all the time, I eat all the right foods, but I'm also constipated and I'm gaining weight and I have low energy and not feeling great, that can often be because all those healthy foods aren't getting to where they need to go because you're constipated. Another long-term effect of chronic constipation is something called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So because your body is not detoxifying properly and you have that waste sitting in your system, this can create an overgrowth of gut bacteria in the small intestine, causing even more symptoms down the road. Also something like hemorrhoids, which I'm sure you might be familiar with, where you're having to strain so hard where you burst and start to bleed and it causes so much inflammation in the colon. And then from a hormonal standpoint, constipation can cause something called estrogen dominance. So your body excretes excess estrogen through your bowels because it's one of our main detoxification pathways. And so a buildup of estrogen can happen within the system, which is why you're feeling fatigued. You have no energy. You might even have more painful periods because your estrogen cannot detoxify properly because you're not having bowel movements. So having a proper bowel movement or going every single day and fully emptying is not just about making you feel good and energized. It can have long-term effects on your hormonal health, your metabolic health, and your overall gut health that can cause weight gain or make weight loss even more difficult. Now, the root causes of constipation, those can range. This can be something like a sluggish thyroid. This can be the gut lining has been weakened over the years. This can be from undereating or high stress. There's a multitude of root causes, but these 4 superfoods that I'm going to share with you in just a few, this is going to start to help overcome some of those root causes so you can start getting relief today. Now, what most people do when they are faced with chronic constipation is they try things like diuretics and laxatives. And the problem with this is, one, this is just a Band-Aid approach. It's not actually addressing the root cause of why you're constipated in the first place. On top of that, you're losing water, minerals, nutrients. You're depleting your body of things that it needs for energy, that it needs to actually feel good. Or maybe you've gone to your doctor and you've been told, well, just try Miralax. And I've met people who have actually been on Miralax for years and never been given an actual long-term plan, treatment, or strategy to come off of it and heal why they're constipated in the first place. Or maybe you've been prescribed something like Linzess because you've been told you have IBS-C. And so even with Linzess, you might get relief for a short period of time, but oftentimes there are other side effects like having diarrhea, having bloating, acid reflux, nausea. And once again, even a prescription like Linzess is not getting to the root cause on why you're constipated in the first place. So all of these are just band-aids instead of addressing the actual root issue. Maybe you've even cut out foods like gluten or dairy or other items to go, well, maybe it's these things that are backing me up. But once again, it's not getting at the root cause. So instead of just kind of hoping, if you just take this one thing, this one pill, this one tea, or cut out these certain foods, that's going to make the fix, let's first start by actually nourishing our body with these 4 superfoods so you can not just alleviate the constipation, but start healing the gut internally as well. So instead of trying all of these quick fixes that are only going to make constipation even worse and never actually get to the root cause, here are 4 superfoods to alleviate constipation and help with GI stress. Number 1 is berries. Berries are things like raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries. Berries have both soluble and insoluble fiber. And so because they're both high in fiber and water content, what they're able to do is they're able to form a gel-like substance in your digestive tract, both adding bulk and softening to stool to help move food along. So I usually recommend having about 150 to 200 grams of berries per day. You can put these in a smoothie. You can put these in yogurt. You can eat these just alone by themselves. But having enough of that both soluble and insoluble fiber is not only going to help draw water into the intestinal tract, it's also going to help soften that stool and move it along. Number 2, which is my absolute favorite, that is kiwi. So specifically 2 kiwis per day. And it's not just because of the fiber in kiwis. Kiwis have a very specific digestive enzyme called acidin. This acidin actually alleviates constipation. So there have been a few studies where they have put kiwis, 2 kiwis specifically, head-to-head with IBS-C patients. So they had people do 2 kiwis a day, they had another group do prunes, and they had another group do psyllium husk. And while all 3 groups did say that they had better bowel movements, or they actually were able to alleviate their constipation, the people who took the prunes and the people who took the psyllium husk also said they had gas, they had bloating, some even said they had diarrhea. Everybody in the kiwi group said not only did they get rid of constipation, but they also didn't have bloating anymore. They didn't have any gas, and all of their stools actually fell within that 3 and 4 on that Bristol stool chart. So it wasn't just something that had to do with like, oh, they had fiber. They didn't even have any negative reactions or negative symptoms. It actually helped with constipation and other GI stress issues that come with IBS. So kiwis, not just once again having the fiber in them, they're going to have a special enzyme and high amounts of vitamin C. So specifically 2 kiwis a day. And I'm often asked when I mention this study specifically or this as a protocol with one of my clients, they always say, do I have to eat the skin too? You do not have to eat the skin. While there is additional fiber in the skin, it's not a requirement and it wasn't a part of any of the studies that were conducted. And this actually includes both green kiwis and the yellow orangish kiwis too as well. Both got similar results with one another. Superfood number 3 is chia seeds. Now the reason that chia seeds made this superfood list is once again, not just because of soluble and insoluble fiber. It has something else that makes it special. It contains omega-3 fatty acids. And the reason this is so important is because oftentimes constipation is also met with inflammation in the gut, and omega-3s can calm that inflammation down. And so I always say, if we're going to eat something or have something, it's better to be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So not only are we able to get bowels moving by having those chia seeds, we also can calm inflammation in the gut by increasing our intake of omega-3 fatty acids. And so the dosage that I usually recommend here specifically is having around 1 to 2 tablespoons per day. Now, if you're really backed up and you're noticing it's been a couple days that you have gone, and that 1 to 2 tablespoons, you're not noticing much of a difference, you can actually have a little bit of them in the morning and up your dosage again at night. And spreading it out has really been shown to be helpful there. But once again, it's going to have both properties. One, get things moving because of that fiber and the bulking and the softening of the stool, but also being able to calm the gut inflammation down, because it's more than just constipation that's usually happening. There's usually some other symptoms going on within the small and large intestine too as well. And number 4 on the superfood list is Brazil nuts. And this one may surprise you because yes, it does have some fiber in it. That is not why it's on the list. Brazil nuts contain something called selenium. Selenium is a superfood for the thyroid, and because one of the major root causes of constipation is a sluggish thyroid. Now, that just doesn't mean, well, if you weren't diagnosed with hypothyroidism, that you don't have a sluggish thyroid. You can have a sluggish thyroid because we're getting a little bit older, chronic stress, you've been dieting for a very long time. Your thyroid can be in a suboptimal place, which means that could be the reason why you're experiencing really bad constipation. So for the Brazil nut specifically, we're bringing that in to support the thyroid gland, which then actually supports motility within the gut. And what I usually recommend here is just starting with 2, but no more than a small handful per day. I wouldn't be popping back tons of Brazil nuts. We want to keep these in a small dosage here. But instead of thinking about how this can be helping move through the gut, we're actually taking a different approach on how it's actually supporting gut health from a hormone standpoint in your thyroid gland. And so with that being said, I still want you to keep in mind that we still want to be getting enough water in, chewing your food thoroughly, getting sleep in to help get things moving along in your digestive tract, on top of trying some of the one or many of these superfoods that I shared with you today. So just to recap, constipation is having anything less than 1 to 3 full bowel movements per day. And then you want your bowel movements to fall within the categories of 3 and 4 on the Bristol stool chart. Not paying attention to your constipation, or if you are constipated, this can lead things to fatigue, extreme irritability, hormonal imbalances over the long term, or even small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which comes with a whole host of other GI issues. So you want to make sure that you're taking your gut health and your constipation seriously and getting those bowels moving along. So just once again, my name is Cassie Lambert. I specifically help women get out of survival mode and start thriving by healing from the inside out. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead and leave a comment below, like and subscribe, or reach out to me and we can connect there.